The Nubian conquest of Egypt in the 8th century BC was particularly galling to Egyptian sensibilities. Kings of Nubia ultimately conquered and ruled Egypt for about a century. The former subjects had become the masters, and they ruled from Napata and later Meroe, with all the ceremonial trappings of traditional pharaonic kingship. The irony was bitter. Nubian kings were more traditional in their religious practices and more faithful to ancient Egyptian customs than the Egyptians themselves had been for centuries. The Nubian pharaohs, known as the 25th dynasty, attempted to restore Egypt's former glory through a conscious revival of old kingdom traditions. They rebuilt neglected temples, restored ancient rituals, and even constructed pyramids in deliberate imitation of their predecessors. But their efforts came too late to reverse Egypt's decline, and their kingdom faced the same external pressures that had destroyed their predecessors. The final humiliation came with foreign conquest by powers that viewed Egypt not as a rival, but as a prize to be won. Taharqa, pharaoh of the 25th dynasty of Egypt and core of the kingdom of Kush, began agitating peoples within the Neo-Assyrian Empire in an attempt to gain a foothold in the region. But this resistance only hastened the inevitable. The Assyrians swept down from Mesopotamia with their iron weapons and siege engines, reducing Egyptian cities to rubble and carrying off the treasures of millennia. The Assyrian conquest in 671 BC marked the end of Egyptian independence for over a century. The Neo-Assyrian and Egyptian empires were bitter rivals in the first millennium BC. But despite its size and antiquity, Egypt was simply another conquest added to Assyria's empire. The pharaohs were reduced to vassal kings, required to pay tribute and provide troops for Assyrian campaigns against other enemies. The brief site restoration of the 26th dynasty provided a final flicker of Egyptian independence, but it was built on shifting sand. The conquest is attributable to the decline and weakness of the Site dynasty, while concurrently the Persian kings were building an empire that would dwarf all previous ancient Near Eastern powers. When Cambyses II invaded Egypt in 525 BC, the last native pharaoh, Psamtik III, could offer only token resistance before his kingdom was absorbed into the vast Persian Empire. The Persian conquest of Egypt was bloody and difficult, but winning peace in the land of the pharaohs was even more difficult. The Persians found themselves ruling a population that regarded them as barbarian usurpers, and their attempts to legitimize their rule through adoption of pharaonic traditions were met with sullen resistance.